Hi, Allegra here, and welcome to my Thursday broadcast. I know I'm a little bit later than usual, but it's because I had to bring everything to this room. And of course, it takes longer to set up a studio than you expect because there's a lot of bits and pieces and everything. And for anyone who's listening right now, if you can tell me if the audio sounds good because my microphone is further away from me than I'm used to. And so if I need to move it, I want to know. But it looks like everything is working, which is exciting. And so hopefully this is going to be great. And you're like, what is that blue thing resting across you? Well, I'm going to tell you in just a second. But for those of you who've been joining me the last few months, y'all know that I have been leaning into self-care because, in addition to my calls that I'm making to my representatives using 5calls.org, that's the number 5, CALLS.org. It's great. They give you scripts, they give you numbers. You have to let people know, the representatives know how you're feeling about things. In addition to doing that, I find that my stress level is higher. And therefore, I need to really lean into self-care because if you don't have the energy or the mental bandwidth to create the world, the just world that you want to live in, then it's not going to happen. And so that's why I've really been leaning into self-care. And actually, if you go to my website right here, bywdreams.mailerpage.com/season self-care, you will see all of the podcasts that I have been doing on self-care, which have included, I started with skincare, and then I went into the things that I drink and eat. And now I'm talking about movement, which I'm holding up this blue thing. By the way, for those of you who are listening, you can listen to this as the Harness the Power of Planning podcast. This will be episode 153. As if you've heard me before, then you know that I believe that planning makes everything easier, including self-care. You have to build self-care into your day. And I do want to say that for those of you listening, thank you so much. However, I do think that this podcast is best viewed. You will get way more information. Like right now, I'm kneading myself using a muscle hook. And if you had just heard that sentence, you're like, what are you talking about, Allegra? So you have to see the video. You can see it on Instagram. You can see it on YouTube. You can see it on my page. On my website. So find it in all the places. And also it will be uploaded to this bywdreams.mailerpage.com/season self-care. So you will be able to find it there. That's where I'm consolidating everything. And for those of you who are looking, there is also a QR code over here that you can scan, and that will take you to the season of self-care. But I'm so happy to be here with you. Hopefully everything is working all right audio wise. I am tempted to check just to make sure because it is always nerve-wracking when you set up a new studio system. And so, I want to make sure that I can be heard. Let's see. Is it going live? Nope. I don't know. I can't see. So for anyone listening, if you could just let me know, is the audio okay? Is the video okay? Feel free to put it in the chat. If you're live with me, I can see it. And if you're listening to the recording, if you leave me comments, I will see them eventually. And I do try and address every single one if possible. And so, so hopefully everything's going well and you can hear me and no one is saying that you can't hear me. So I'm assuming it's all working. So I'm Allegra. I am a productivity and time management expert. And part of being productive is taking care of yourself. That's why self-care is such a huge part of the content that I cover. Because when your health isn't in place, and I'm not a healthcare professional, I've just had a lot of health issues myself. So when my health is not in tip-top shape, then all my attention is on my health. And I know this from personal experience. I was bedridden for 3 months at one point in my 30s, my early 30s, right? So I was young, but my body mechanics were horrible. My stress management was horrible. I knew nothing about fascia, which is what I'm going to talk about today. If you're watching the video, you're like, why is she moving her head like that? Because I am actively doing fascia work I'm holding this muscle hook thing down here because it just feels so good. So this is what I do when I'm just sitting. I do this fascia work with this muscle hook. So if you have not had a chance, I have written 4 books all about productivity and time management. They're designed to be read in an hour or less, and they're all workbooks so that you will use the knowledge you're learning, because that's what brain science shows, is that you learn better when you implement what you learn, not just consume it passively. I'm all about the brain science because, I just want to help you in the most efficient, effective way possible. And a new thing that I've been doing on my podcast is acknowledging those of you who are joining me from other parts of the world, because the listenership is always changing. And so at the top of the list this week was Vietnam. I did not have a chance to look at interesting information about Vietnam, which has been really fun for me to find out about these countries that I haven't experienced personally. But we'll do that next week. So next week, I will find interesting facts about Vietnam and share them all with you. And this is my hibiscus drink. Usually there's matcha in here too, but I'm out of matcha, have to reorder. So you can find out all about what I drink also in that season of self-care. There was a whole podcast about my 3 beverage ritual in the morning. Okay. But as I like to do at the beginning of every podcast, I like to pull a little card from this wonderful deck of chaos and see what the universe has to share with me. Wow. On point, John Ruskin. It's amazing how many new people I'm introduced to with this deck. There is no wealth but life. Life. Every single second is precious. There is no wealth but life. I'm not even sure I need to add any thoughts to that. Thank you. Thank you, John Ruskin. Okay, so I'm going to get straight into part 2 of fascia. Last week, I talked about fascia. I talked about the fascia that I kind of do from my scalp and my face. And today, I'm hoping to get into all the things that I use on my body. And let me just tell you, I did not get like this overnight. I don't exactly remember how I learned about fascia, but when I learned about it, it spoke to me. And I really got into it. I want to say I've been really into it for maybe 3 or 4. Well, I mean, like these things I bought 5 years ago. So it's been an ongoing thing. It's happened slowly over time. All the things that you've seen me share with you, I did not accumulate overnight. I've accumulated them over the course of years. And not only that, but many of them I've actually gotten for free. Like this one, a friend of mine had showed me theirs. I said, oh, that looks amazing. And then if you've heard me talk before about the Buy Nothing group, I put an ask on the Buy Nothing group. Hey, I'm looking for this muscle hook thing. And someone found one literally in their neighbor's recycle can for, to be picked up by trash the next day. So a lot of them I've gotten for free. This is another one I got from the Buy Nothing group. This one as well. So, you're not always, I did purchase this. These were things that I actually found in the park. Someone left them behind. So you never know where you're going to find. Oh, these were actually part of a children's toy building set that my daughter had. And when she outgrew the set, I kept a few of these blocks for myself for fascia work. So you get them all in random places. Okay. And I guess I'll just start with the one that I'm holding. So this is a muscle hook. I love this guy so much that I actually got one for our camper van, which I don't know where I got that one. But like if you look on the Buy Nothing, if you look on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or wherever, you can get these things for really inexpensive because people do buy them and either they don't use them or they feel like it doesn't work for them or whatever. Also, people outgrow them. Like I actually keep this foam one around. I don't use this one anymore, but my husband uses it. So people outgrow things and they get rid of things. And so you might be able to pick something up when someone says, hey, I found a tool that works better for me, so I'm no longer using this tool. So this muscle hook. So here's the thing about fascia. I think I said it last week, but if not, I'm going to repeat it. Fascia is stronger than muscle. One term I heard was, one person said that it was 20 times stronger. Okay. And so for that reason, you need a lot of strength to get into fascia, or let's say not strength, let's call it pressure. You need a lot of pressure to get into fascia, and you also need time. One expert said 3 minutes. You need 3 minutes to start feeling release. Now with cupping, which I showed you my cupping set last week, with cupping, they leave those cups on for 5 to 10 minutes. So the tighter the fascia, the longer time you need. And by the way, I had a really interesting sidebar. Last week when I went hiking with my girlfriends, we were talking about fascia because one of my friends who works a lot on the computer and is also a potter, she said that she couldn't move her right arm higher than here. And I like to talk about fascia. So I was like, hey, can I talk about fascia? Do you mind? And she was like, what is that? And so I was telling her, and, two spots that I work a lot on for myself is this spot here on my outer upper arm, kind of right in the middle, and the same spot on the right side. But the right side is always tighter. And I'm right-handed. And my friend was having the same pain that I have. She's also right-handed. And it made me think about the fact that I think the reason fascia gets tight is just from habitual use. If you are habitually keyboarding, which I attribute a lot of this tightness to, is holding this position. I mean, feel how activated your arms right there are when you're keyboarding. And then add mousing, which I do with my dominant hand. Lots of these repetitive, like I even feel like I can feel movement as I'm doing right there, the mousing movements. So you're doing these repetitive movements. And so your fascia is just continuing to support the muscle in this position for hours every day. And that's why it tightens up. And my friend also mousing and potting, right? So limited range of motion. She's down here a lot. So I did the same move to her that I do to myself, which is usually when I'm doing it myself, I'll use a pointy end like this and I'll just put it into that point. Yeah, that face I'm making, hurts so good. And then you just kind of like wiggle it. I call it kneading. And so I did this to my friend, and she was kind of the same way that I am, like, ow, ooh, ow. And I held it for as long as I could hold it with my thumbs. This point is actually a little too pointed. Like if I was doing this on myself, I might actually use this triangle because it's bigger. The spot in there is bigger than this point. So I kind of need a bigger, so this is where like the experimentation comes in. Another thing I can do is use this muscle hook, and if I'm leaning against a wall, I can put it right here and then lean against the wall and kind of push. But actually, even like this, I feel it. So I did that to her for a little bit, and her right arm immediately, she had fuller range of motion. So I think the thing is that the fascia gets tight from these repetitive movements, and then we're not purposefully either doing the opposite movement or working the fascia like I'm showing you in order to undo that tightness. When I was really into yoga, I remember one of my yoga instructors said, you know why we do so many back bends in yoga? Because in American culture, we're always bending forward. And you need to counteract that with the back bends. And so I feel like that's what it is with fascia, is that it tightens up from the repetitive movement. And so you need to untighten it, however that is. And I have simply found fascia work to be the easiest way to keep my body having its full range of motion as I enter, or I'm not entering, as I'm in my 5th decade, right? I just recently turned 52. So, I am pain-free and have full range of motion. So I consider that a win. Thumbs up. So going back to the muscle hook, this guy is designed to help do some of the pressure for you because, it can be hard to just hold the spot for 3 minutes. However, would you call this a machine? I forget what the actual definition of a machine is, but I feel like a machine is anything that helps you do work, right? So this machine is that it helps you get into these places. Like I like this kind of egg shape tip right there. I like to put this right here, which it also gets tight because of the mousing and the holding the phone, right? When you hold your phone up, you're really activating these muscles. So I like to put that egg shape right there. And then I put my hand here and my hand on this lower one. And then you just pull towards yourself and down. So if I get like this, maybe you can see it better. I'm pulling this way and this way. And it just really allows you to get a lot of pressure without a lot of work. Like my hands are barely doing anything. They're just kind of holding in place. And this is a great thing to do when you're on, if you're talking to a friend, or if you're watching some TV, or if you're just sitting outside. Like it feels really good to just be able to get into that place. Mostly you're pushing, but you do want to do like a little bit of wiggling. In the fascia community, they call this flossing. So this helps you'll also hear in fascia work, they'll talk about melting the fascia. Obviously, you're not really melting it, but the melting they're talking about is that releasing of tension that it's holding. And also too, sometimes you'll find it useful to floss by moving other areas, like up in your neck, especially moving your head to the side. That really helps to release it. And by the way, when I'm doing fascia work, I never do fascia work cold. So I've already been on a 30-minute walk today, a vigorous walk using a weighted vest. So I'm warmed up. Again, this goes back to fascia being so strong and so tight that you need some heat to help, again, generate that looseness so that you can do the fascia work. So I like to use this a lot here. As I mentioned, I could put it in this spot here and lean against a wall. Also, we all have a big ridge of fascia running under our foot, right? You hear about plantar fasciitis all the time. So you can do that and hold that here and get under there like that. Oh, feels so good. So that's the muscle hook. One of my favorite tools. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I will see them in the chat. And yes, so I love the muscle hook. Okay, these two little guys. And by the way, I have links in the show notes for where you can get some of these things. And like I said, some of these things I've just found, but I'm sure you can find, some people use a softball. So you could use a golf ball. A lot of people like to roll golf balls under their feet for that same plantar fasciitis. I don't know if you can see that. I don't think you can see that, but here. When I'm here, you can see it. So just rolling it under your foot. Again, holding it for 3 minutes or longer. If that's really painful, then you need to get in there. Okay. What I have found with fascia, my personal experience, again, not a medical professional, my personal experience has been that the pain is the tightness. It's that knot that you need to get undone. And you do the fascia work, and at least for me, the knot and the pain are gone. So like this hurts right now. Yeah, doesn't feel great, but my experience has been that's what I need. And so I'm showing off here with my deep squat. Something that I worked on for many, many years to get to this point. So anyway, so these guys, I'm just going to do fascia on my foot right now as I'm talking because, yeah, I can feel it. So these guys I use in my shower. And the smaller nub one is for the initial, just to get to kind of warm up the skin. Some people use these out of the shower with oil. I found myself not using it when I did it that way because I was just so oily. I was like, what am I going to do? I'm so oily. I don't want to put on clothes. I don't want to do anything. So when I started using them with soap in the shower, I use them more. So I go over it first with this, and then I get in deeper with the bigger nubs. And the way I've been told to use them is that you want to use them in one, pick a direction and use it. So like, don't go this way if you start going this way. And I just go all over my body, basically. So those are great. And I do them whenever I am in the shower. Okay, it's starting to release a little bit on my right foot. Maybe I'll switch to my left foot now. Because now here's the thing. You might think, okay, well, I'm only feeling pain on one side of my body. The reason why I'm doing my left foot is, oh, interesting. My left heel does not have that pain. Huh, fascinating. The reason why I do fascia work as equally as I can, so both sides from top to bottom, I don't want to leave anything untouched, is because the thing with my body I have found is that it can get uneven. When I was bedridden for 3 months, I was basically leaning to the side. And it's because of how I believe it's because of how I crossed my legs. So I always crossed my right leg over my left. And so the fascia on the right side of my body was different than the fascia on the left side of my body. And so it was pulling me in this funky way. So the reason why I try and keep everything equal in terms of spending time on things is to ensure that I don't have those inequalities and my body's not getting pulled one way or the other. Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. My right foot hurt like heck. My left foot, it doesn't feel great because I've got a golf ball under my foot, but it doesn't hurt either. So those are other things that you can do. Okay. I showed you these blocks. I have a bunch of them. There's a whole community. It's called the block community that does fascia work. I don't know if you say exclusively with blocks, but they use blocks a lot. And blocks, they say blocks are really good because they're super dense, and that some fascia, attaches to the bone. And so this helps you get deeper, they say, because it's a similar, what I've been told is that the wood is a similar density to the bone, so you can get deeper. But what I like about the blocks is you can just kind of set them up in places and then lie on them. So it can be kind of passive. So like I like to use this pointy one right in the center of my back. I also like to use them. Some people have a lot of tightness in their butt and hips. I do not. But like right now, I just put this block under my butt, the pointy side. And so like, if that's a painful area for you, like, look, you're doing fascia work. Woo! And again, I would be sure to just be sure you're doing both sides, and wherever you're feeling the pain, that's where you need it. So my butt muscles are not tight. I know a lot of people too who have a lot of tightness in the front of their legs like that. So you can do this where you put these little guys down and then just lay on them. Again, my thighs are not tight. That's not where I carry my tightness. But it's, you're just using your body weight to help melt the fascia in a passive way. So you just have to, lie there. So, do some deep breathing. Maybe if you are challenged by the silence, maybe listen to an audiobook or something. I do try and be very mentally present when I'm doing this work, so that, I just believe that your mind and body work together. So if you're focused on, okay, I'm releasing this fascia here, I think it's going to be more productive and it's going to happen faster for you. So those are blocks. So see, all these ideas, like I'm sure you have things lying around your house that you could probably use for this. So get creative, look for things, look for, hard little things that you can use. I don't actually use these guys. Like I said, these were found objects, but a lot of people really like the balls, especially for rolling out I've seen a lot of my friends, let me see if I can tilt this down a little bit, rolling out their calves and their thighs on these kind of balls. I find them awkward to work with. I've also seen people use these and go against a wall to get it in their back, where they roll against a wall with those. It floats your boat. This one's heavier than it looks. It's denser. And as I mentioned, I've seen people using softballs for that same purpose too. So, I think the great thing about these is actually, I have a friend who takes one of these with her everywhere. She's really into the ball. It's really nice and travel size. So when I'm traveling, that's what's great about these little block guys, is that they're easy to pack with you. And yes, I do travel with fascia stuff. If it's a short trip, I'll just take a block, and I'm going to show you this guy next, I guess. I have a travel pillow of these. I call this the bed of nails. It's a 2-part thing. And I have a small travel pillow of bed of nails. So I will travel with the bed of nails and a couple of wooden blocks for a short trip. On a longer trip, I'll bring these guys along. On a really long trip, I'll take a small foam roller. That's how important I feel like this is to me feeling good. Okay, I need to move these things so I have more space. So let me show you the bed of nails. It is something, again, going back to passive things. This is really great in that it's passive. This challenged me, this tool here. The first time I ever laid on it, I remember feeling like I wanted to jump up and scream. Like, it's just like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And then after, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, I fell asleep. If I want a good nap, this is where I come. I get the best naps on this guy. I am telling you. I know this is going to be a hard sell because this is not comfortable. But wow, I was shocked at what this does. And I actually know a ballet dancer who does her warm-ups with her feet on these guys. I mean, imagine, I once heard something about aging, that one of the reasons why as we age, we trip and have issues with our feet is that our feet are losing sensation as we age. And maybe that's because we're always walking in shoes, in really padded shoes. And so our feet don't get the stimulation that they would get. Just to remind you, my background, I was an anthropology major in undergrad. So I'm always thinking about like how we were designed to live, and think about how much more stimulated your feet were walking around on the bare ground, like all the rocks and pebbles and twigs and branches, like poking you. If you're into acupressure at all, then you know that there are corresponding places on your foot that correspond to health in other parts of your body. So imagine if you were stimulating those all the time by walking barefoot. Well, a ballerina needs to have like total control of her foot, and she warms up by standing on this. When I saw that, I was like, oh my God, that's next level. I've never been able to stand on this for that long a period of time. I guess I'm not that motivated because I'm not a ballerina. But when I use this guy, I just put down, by the way, they now have these longer so that they can hit your full body. On me, this is basically a torso mat, you can see. So I put it down, I lie on it without clothes on, and then I stick this guy under my neck so that it fully gets up in there into my neck area. And I just lie here. And like, this feels like nothing to me. If you try this on your bare skin and it's too much, then, go ahead, put on a light tank top. But yeah, now it doesn't hurt me the way it used to. Like I never feel the need to jump up and scream like I did the first time. And I love this tool so much. And if you're not, look, again, don't feel the need to have a huge collection of fascia tools. Like start with one and go from there. Okay, so kind of along the lines of what I was talking about your feet, these are sandals that I wear for about 10 to 15 minutes almost every day. And I can tell you the first time I put these on, I was just shocked at how painful they were. And now I can walk around with them for, forever. Like this literally feels like nothing to me. It's incredible to me, the fact that I can put these on and not feel anything. Because the first time, wow, so painful. And so these, just with every step, those little nubs of the rocks are working their way into your feet. And my feet are definitely much looser because of that. And if you can find these, I'll put a link to them in the show notes, but I do find, like, one of the things I like about these is if you look at the pebbles, they're uncoated. I do try to minimize the contact that I have with plastic on my skin. And so that's one thing I really like about this is that these pebbles are all uncoated. So it's just the surface of the pebble touching my skin. So these guys are great. Okay, finally, you've all seen these around. These are super popular. These are foam rollers. This is kind of the basic guy, the foam. These ones with the hollow core that is made out of a solid, hard plastic. These ones are a lot firmer. And then the nubs are designed to give you, an even deeper massage. This one, they say the nubs are supposed to feel like fingers of a masseuse. And this is like supposed to feel like the palm of the masseuse. It's definitely a step up in terms of intensity, but it feels so good. And I like to use these guys. By the way, if you saw last week, and I'll include it again this week, I included some videos on fascia. And I think there's one video there where I've really taken the most of my moves, which is to use this foam roller almost like it's a Pilates machine, right? So if you're familiar with Pilates, there's a lot of pushing and pulling. And so you're rolling your muscles, but you're also getting a lot of core work. Right now, I'm getting to work my triceps. So that's how I roll, like my thigh area. It's also great for, the top of your calves, where I think you might be surprised at how much tightness you carry there. Actually, let me do it more this way. That the tightness there. And then you can also use this kind of like more passively, like for instance, to get to my triceps, I will just lay on the ground and just put my triceps on it like this in prayer position and just allow gravity to do its work. And this also really feels good on my neck doing this. And then same thing with the back. I do all sorts of I like to start with it under my hips because definitely this is an area where I can carry tension and just kind of work back and forth like this, rolling, and even rolling a little bit like this and getting in the abs this way and this way. And then I will just roll forward and get my back. Again, if you've done Pilates, this move probably looks really familiar. It's a great core workout too. And then I will go all the way back so I can just get even deeper into my abs and my back and my upper neck. And then sometimes I will use two at the same time because this one is really great for my neck. And so I'll position them like this so that the gravity of my trunk being elevated will be pushing down my shoulders and neck into this one. And I'll, again, that kneading motion, that little bit of movement to help get deeper into the fascia. Oh yeah, woo! Feeling it. So those are all the different tools that I have for my fascia work. Like I said, I don't do all of them daily. I spread out my day. I do a little bit here or there. My head and face, I pretty much do every day. And I wear my pebble shoes pretty much every day. And then the rest of the stuff is just kind of like as I feel the need. Like, oh, I haven't done that for a few days. Oh, I haven't done that for a few days. I like, what I have found is that by keeping up with things regularly, I no longer have the acute issues pop up where it's like, oh, what's that pain? I feel loose and limber and able to do the movements that I need to do by just doing a little bit of this every day. And like I said, I do feel occasional tightness sometimes, like surprising ways under my right heel. I really felt that today. So I'm going to wear my sandals, but it sounds like I might need to do a little more targeted fascia work on that right heel because I was definitely feeling that. So yeah, just a little bit every day. And just start with whatever is bothering you most right now and then go from there. When I injured my back in my 30s, early 30s, after being bedridden for 3 months and the doctor saying that I was never going to get any better, that's when I really decided to take my health into my own hands and trust my body. And, I just said to myself, like, body, like, guide me, tell me what to do. I will listen. And the thing that I felt most called to do was to do this walk around my neighborhood that I do every day now with my doggy. It takes me 26 minutes. And when I was injured with my back the way it was, it took me 3 hours to do the same walk. 3 hours. That's how slowly I was moving. Early 30s. And, at this time, I didn't have a dog to force me to walk. And I was not moving as much as I needed to be moving. And so my body was like, you need to walk every single day. And I really just listened to my body, and I was healed about, I don't know, maybe 6 months later. It's been so long now. I don't remember the exact time frame anymore. But that's how I feel about my fascia work. I'm just like, oh, what? Like right now, I've never put this golf ball under my right calf, but like that thought popped into my head. Like, I'm like, what do you need, body? Tell me what you need. And if you listen, I do believe it will tell you. And wow, I'm really feeling that right now, that golf ball under my right calf. So, pay attention, take care of yourself. If you can, take care of someone else. And be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen. And remember, planning makes everything easier. Thanks for joining me.